We're seeing elevated intro bonuses for some American Express cards, Southwest officially ends flexible boarding, and TSA agents are farming Priority Pass. This and more in today's roundup. Big favor before we dive into everything though is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. Starting off, American Express Bonvoy cards have elevated offers. Be extremely careful that they actually make sense, and we'll get into this with redemptions. With that said, there are elevated offers with all three, and offers end September 24th, 2025. For the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant American Express card, you're getting 185k bonus points after 6,000 purchases in the first 6 months. There is a $650 annual fee, but the math works in the first year. Long term, it kind of depends on the perks you're going for. So for example, you do get up to 300 per year as a dining credit, and it's broken down into up to 25 per month. It's pretty easy to use, and I pretty much don't use this card outside of stays and for this credit. Without being pedantic, if you eat anyways, it's pretty much cash. $650 minus up to 300 is a $350 effective annual fee, and adjust up and down as necessary if you want a discount. Wherever your number lands for that effective annual fee, you get up to 85k free night award every card member anniversary, which is pretty useful, especially since you can top off with up to 15k points if needed. You also get Bonvoy Platinum status and 25 elite nights every year. On top of this is Priority Pass, but you might already have this with other cards. So in my case, I don't really count it since I already have it elsewhere. For most people watching, would you pay $350 for Bonvoy Platinum status and an 85k night? On our end, we've used it at some pretty nice hotels, and ones we'd comfortably pay, let's say $500, so maybe even up to $800 per night for, like the Ritz-Carlton Kyoto. Same thing with Hotel de Mitsui, which is also in Kyoto, and it's part of the luxury collection within Marriott. There's only 6 hotels in Japan that have 3 Michelin keys, and this is the only one in Kyoto, and the only points option. Availability for Hotel de Mitsui is a bit tougher now, but Ritz-Carlton Kyoto is still an option. It still works if you're only using points, but with certificates, the max value is 100k. A lot of people ask whether it makes sense to keep this card long term, and for us, it makes a ton of sense. Your mileage may vary, but this is one of the cards we've debated stacking if it wasn't for the 5 credit card cap with American Express. So if there were 10 spots, we'd probably add more Aspires and Brilliants. The mid-level card and also the business card also have elevated offers. So the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy American Express card is offering 155,000 bonus points after 5,000 purchases within the first 6 months. This card is a bit tougher outside of the first year. Main reason being that you have a $250 annual fee, but you don't get a free night award just by holding the card. You'd actually have to spend to get it. The main draw for most people is getting Bonvoy Gold status, but you can also get that elsewhere and for cheaper. Year 1, it makes sense for the intro bonus, and if you want a product change to stack Brilliance, but otherwise year 2, it's pretty iffy. One big thing to note is that with the intro bonus for the Bevy, you're not eligible if you have or have had the Brilliant, which basically means that you want to apply for the Bevy first before the Brilliant. Your move order here matters, and it could cost you 155k points. With the Marriott Bonvoy Business American Express card, you're getting 125k bonus points after 8,000 in purchases in the first 6 months. This one might be worth keeping long term if you're trying to farm lifetime status, or if you're trying to hit 50 nights, elite nights, in order to get the annual choice benefit. The main reason for this is that ENC's elite night credits only count from 1 personal and 1 business card, and with the Bonvoy Brilliant, it's 25 ENCs. The rest of the other cards are only 15 ENCs. The business card here is the last available option that you can even apply for, so it's pretty much the only choice. So if both, it's 25 plus 15 is 40 ENCs of the 50 you need, so only 10 left. Even if you only do award travel with Marriott or stay at their nicer hotels, 10 nights isn't too unreasonable, but depends on you there. The rest of the card also isn't bad. So there is a 125 annual fee, but you also get a 35k night every year upon renewal. There are now more use cases for 35k if you want to go to Vegas, and we'll get into that. Otherwise, you can top off with up to 15k points for 50k. One that's probably underappreciated if you are someone that actually stays a lot is the 7% Marriott room rate discount for booking directly with them. You also get Bonvoy Gold status by holding this card, so it's cheaper than the Bevy for that purpose. Also no blockers from the other American Express cards, so it kind of lives in its own lane. If you go for all 3, you're getting a ton of points. So 155k plus 185 plus 125 is 465k for $19,000 in total spent. One thing to be careful with is that Marriott points do lean more towards premium travel and looking for that upside. So if you're not looking for outsized value to stay at those $1,000 to $2,000 per night hotels for a fraction of the price, then it doesn't really make sense. It's hard to justify. Given how the program is currently structured, you really want to spend 5 minutes to look for your use cases to see whether it makes sense. On a side note, if you want to learn about cards and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense for you, but otherwise it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Speed running through some redemption options, Ritz-Carlton Kyoto is an amazing one if you can line up a few 80k or 90k nights like in August or September. Also a reminder that Marriott has 5th night free when you use points. So let's say you did 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. One of the 83.2k nights would be the free one since it has to be the cheapest. Doing the math, that means for 5 nights, you'd be paying 338k points. Switching over to the cash price, looking for those exact dates, retail cost is 116k yen per night, and it actually gets even more expensive with the taxes and fees, so 116k gets to about 150k yen. Based off the current exchange rate, it's about $1,000 all in per night. In contrast, when you're using an 85k night, you avoid most of the fees. It's just 1,000 yen. Same thing with using points, it's just 1k yen, so about $7. So yeah, 338,000 points for a $5,000 stay is pretty good in my book. The big question is what you'd be willing to pay and if you care. With a lot of the top level Ritz-Carlton hotels, we are willing to pay out of pocket because it's just that good. Obviously it depends on whether it's a special occasion or something, but Kyoto's up there. It's also one of the few Ritz-Carlton properties that actually like people that have elite status, so here you get free breakfast if you have platinum status and up. With other Ritz-Carltons, they don't give it to you because they don't have to. Even better is the fact that the breakfast was actually good, so no complaints at all, would happily recommend if you have platinum and up. Even if you compare to other hotels in the area that are, let's say, one tier down, like the Hyatt Regency, that's already 200 to 300, and no taxes and fees ends up being about 400. If you're staying stateside, Vegas is in a weird meta right now. So tourism is way down and we're seeing a bit of a pullback on hotel prices, but it's still not cheap. Due to the low demand though, there is a lot of award space. So prices are down to, let's say, 200 for Bellagio on weekdays, which isn't too bad at all. Using points though and looking at that calendar, you see nights at 22k and even 19k, which is insane. Before, even for weekdays, you were looking at 50k points and up. We tend to go midweeks because we're doing it as a staycation and we're happy to pay about 200, so that's kind of a fair price. So 20k points or a 35k free night award that we're paying, let's say, $99 for is a great redemption if we're otherwise paying 200. If you are more interested in deals and availability, I do share that a lot more of newsletters since it's a lot easier and faster. But yeah, if you're interested, AskSebby.com/newsletter, just because I can get it out a lot faster than videos. Cosmo is another great option under autograph collection, so still part of Marriott. Retail is about 200 to 250 midweek, so still not cheap by any means, but if you use points, you're looking at 25k points, so pretty good use of a free night award. I'm more than happy to pay $99 or $125 if I'm readily getting 200 in value for a place I already go to. The reason I think we are seeing this compared to the retail price dropping is that I don't want to devalue the brand as much. The main issue is an anchoring effect. If they lower the retail cost too much, then people are not going to be happy when it goes back up. Points, especially more dynamic systems like Marriott now, don't really have this problem because it's expected. And even if people do get pissed off and anchor to that lower price, it's a small subset of people, so not that big of a deal. As someone that likes Vegas, points haven't really made sense and it's been pretty tough for a pretty long time. So yeah, glad to see the meta shifting and it to be viable, at least for now. I think this ended up being more of a Bonvoy deep dive than I expected, but let's quickly cover the other topics I wanted to talk about anyways. Southwest is in an interesting spot with seat selection. They finally abandoned their open seating policy and now they have standard seat selection. People who loved flying Southwest and only flying Southwest absolutely hate this. At the same time, I kind of feel like it was a needed change since it was getting abused. So for example, seat saving and seat hogging was a big problem for a long time. Also, depending on gate agent and I guess the flight and timing and stuff, they would sometimes prioritize families, even those with just 18 and under, which is a pretty low bar, before people who had elite status. Maybe I'm just too used to flying other airlines, but seat selection feels pretty normal with every airline. Even outside of the US, it's pretty standard. With these changes, sales are down and loyalists aren't that happy. At the same time, people that had elite status were arguably getting the most screwed. With these new changes, if you have status, then seat selection is waived, and same if you have their cards. It's going to be interesting to see the invisible hand at work and what pricing looks like, but I do expect pricing to drop a little bit, at least in the short term. But yeah, curious what you think and whether this helps you want to fly or not fly Southwest. The last story is an interesting one. It's about TSA agents using priority pass lounges. This was first covered over on Flyer Talk, and it was about a whole parade of TSA screeners marching in and eating from the buffet. The reason they had access was priority pass, and they were going to the lounge and doing daily grouped lunches and dinners. This seems super smart, but also a bit dumb, since I think it would have changed in normal clothes. To be fair, there also is a pretty strong belief that this is why priority pass ended up removing restaurants from a lot of their cards, if not most of them. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I don't think you can hate the player here. You have to hate the game. Maybe it's because I'm coming from a board game or video game perspective, but you want to min-max based off the constraints. If there are balancing issues, they're going to get nerfed. And to be fair, I completely understand why someone flying wouldn't be happy, especially if all the food's gone and they're having a subpar experience. At the same time, if I did have to blame someone, I'd probably blame the lounge. So for example, for a lot of other lounges like Delta, you can't get in unless you are a customer, and membership or not. In fact, you're not allowed to use the lounge even if you have access if you're non-revenue, so if you're just flying standby using the Delta perks. If you're flying for free, you don't get access even if you have the right cards. The lounge can set the rules and be more specific if needed, but otherwise it's hard to get angry at someone rolling the dice and trying something and it working. Yeah, that's just me, kind of curious what you think. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a dice emoji, game dice, in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions: what are your thoughts on the Bonvoy cards? Which one would you get and keep? And how would you redeem the points? Number 2, do you think Southwest is going to recover from this whole PR situation, or do they eventually need to backstep? Number 3, what are your thoughts on Priority Pass lounge access, and should it be even more strict? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favorite, thumbs up, share this, otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.